Hello to all of you. I would like to have a video lesson with you and I would like to teach you from the subject translation theory and practice. And today's theme is quite interesting and we can know about some specific features of translation while translating a text and connect it and relation of it with language and with culture. So today's theme is called Linguocultural Problems of Translation. Let me start, and this is today's slide. I would like to share it with you. And here you can find out some specific problems, some knowledge and some information about culture and language. And while translating into another language, a person should pay attention to the culture and to the culture which the language belongs to. So on the first slide, one can come across the information about linguocultural problems of translation. Here we are going to discuss about the names of places, the names of people, the names of animals, which should be translated into another language. Imagine that if a translator wants to translate a word which belongs to another language, he or she has to pay attention and follow some rules of translation. Without it, it is impossible to translate the text or a piece of text. And there are several rules and special terms which can be used while translating it. First of all, I'd like to mention about culture-bound words, and throughout the video class, I would like to mention you some rules and explain it to you. Culture-bound words, translation methods, what ways can be used in order to translate this kind of words, and importance of receptor perception in translation choices, what the person should represent and should present in order to make the piece of text understandable to the other member of the language. I mean that a person who is translating a text, a source text can be in English, a target text can be Uzbek. While translating a text, it should be paid attention to the culture too. Without it, it is impossible to make the text understandable for the receiver. So let's move to the next slide here. All can come across to equivalent lacking words. There are some words which cannot be translated into another language. Words lacking direct equivalence in the target language, including untranslatable, and culturally loaded terms. So words which cannot be translated sometimes can be called as untranslatable words or sometimes equivalent lacking words. Throughout the slides or throughout the video lesson, I would like to share and to mention some important rules which is connected with equivalent lacking words. And the second one is culture-bound words. Again, words which are connected with culture can be called cultural words, where sometimes are not translated. They are mostly mentioned with special description or special descriptive words are given or the situation is explained in order to make the word understandable for the receiver. And here one can come across to several words like kimono. Kimono is a word from Japanese and it is special for Japanese people. Not any other culture has this kind of word because not any other culture has got this kind of clothes in their homeland. Only Japanese people wear it, and so that's why they have this kind of word in their context. And while translating, one should use the same word, even though it is another language. In Japanese, kimono, in English also kimono. When it comes into Uzbek, while translating the word kimono, the same word is kept and is understood. As it is used for several decades, people already know about it, but there are some words which are not so popular among people. So that's why translation theory should have this kind of theme and should have this kind of part in order to make most text understandable for other cultures, for other languages. Or matryoshka. Matryoshka is a Russian word, and mostly Russian people used it, but nowadays it is quite popular. But while translating it, the same word is kept. So that is why it is called culture-bound words. Reasons for the usage. So there are several usages. The reasons. So extra linguistic, lexical, and stylistic differences cause the use of these words in translation. Several reasons will be mentioned during the discussion of the slides. So types of culture-bound words. The first one is toponyms. Toponyms are the words which are the name of the places. For example, as an example, it is given the word Beijing. Beijing. In Uzbek, it is Peking. Even though it is different in English, while translating it, one should use the word Peking in order to make it understandable for Uzbek nation. So this type of words are called toponyms. I mean that in translation field, toponyms mean the translation of the words which are connected or which are the name of the places. Anthroponyms are the words which represents or which denotes the names of people. So, for example, George Byron or Victor Hugo, um, or Aristophanes or Socrates. So there are a lot of famous people in the world from other nationalities, and they have got various names, different names, while accepting it into Uzbek or into any other target text. There is a special method to translate it correctly. Zoonyms, as the word is known for every of us, zoonyms mean the names of animals. The word kangaroo exists in Australia. The animal itself also exists in Australia, so that is why, as this animal doesn't exist in other parts of the world, the same word is accepted for all nationalities, for all nations. The word kangaroo is the same in Australia and is the same in Uzbek language too, as we don't have this kind of animal in our homeland. Social and military terms. There are words which denote, which mean some social events or military terms like some civil war, or there are some events which took place only in some parts of the world. Or exoticisms, bonsai, kabuki, barbarisms, avenue misses, neologisms, internet junk food, historicisms, and archaisms. So these are the parts which should be paid attention while translating the text into another language. So common methods I'm going to mention about common methods. The first one is transcription, transliteration, and calc translation. So the first one is transcription, the usage of one word into another one, but by the way of pronunciation. Pronunciation is taken into consideration while translating the word. For example, the word New York, even though it's written differently in English, it is accepted as New York in Uzbek, and it is written in the same way how it is pronounced. So that's why it's called transcription. Transliteration is a way while having the same word in another language and having the same in target language too. Calc translation is having another way of translation. And there are several more ways. Explicatory translation. This is full explanation and footnotes or commentaries to clarify meaning. Explicatory translation means having the word and not having it into target language, but in order to make it understandable for the target language, a special explanation is done. I mean that, for example, the word dupi exists in Uzbek, but there is no this kind of word in English. In order to make this word understandable for English people, one should explain, the translator should use the way explicatory translation. I mean that in the brackets or in by giving the footnotes, translator can include the description, the explanation of the word as a, it can be mentioned as a headgear, special headgear, which is worn during special occasions, and mostly men wear it. So sometimes during the wedding ceremony, this kind of headgear can be worn. So this kind of explanation can be accomplished. Lexical substitution, sometimes using analogs. Sometimes it is impossible to translate it by the way of transcription, transliteration, calc translation, or explicatory translation. So the way which is called lexical substitution is used. So let's move translating people's names. As I mentioned above, so I have got this kind of just some rules, as there is a famous poet in English who is called George Byron. Even though this word is started with the letter G, not the same letter is used while translating it into Uzbek. Into Uzbek, the way which is called transcription is used while translating the names of people. George Byron, G in English, but when it comes to the target language, mostly J is used while translating it into Uzbek. The letter J is used. Okay, geographical terms. So this should be called as toponyms. Geographical terms, the names of the place is called in translation field as toponyms. Mostly transliteration or transcription are used while translating geographical terms, I mean toponyms. Now let's mention a bit about published editions and acronyms. Published editions while translating the newspaper or magazine. For example, let's take Halk Sözü. Halk Sözü. There is a famous national newspaper in Uzbekistan, Halk Sözü. But while translating it into English, there is a word halk, special word which can be known as the public, and there is a word söz, which is called or which is translated as a word, but there is no this way while translating published editions. Instead of saying public word, it is accepted to say and to write the same way as it is in Uzbek. Halk Sözü is written, but sometimes some letters can be changed as taking into consideration the pronunciation of words. Halk Sözü can be translated in the same way into English too. Okay, so thank you for your attention. I have shown my slides. Now I'm going to have a little practice with you. While practicing, let's pay attention to the text. Where one can come across to special culture-bound words, ethnographisms, and let's discuss it together. In the bustling markets of Istanbul, one can find an area of realia. While mentioning about culture-bound words, it's important to mention about realia too. Realia are the words which cannot be translated into another language, which cannot be found, cannot be translated. So it is, and they are mostly connected with culture. So words such as kebabs, baklava. Kebab. The word kebab doesn't exist in English, as it doesn't exist, as there is no this kind of dish in English world. One should say the same word in English too. Kebab in Turkish language and kebab in English language, as this is a national dish in Turkish world. But mostly in order to make it understandable, or while using the explanation process, the footnotes can be given, or sometimes explanatory translation can also be given. Kebab is a special dish which is mostly served as a main dish. Baklava is a dessert and Turkish delight. These traditional foods are not just culinary delights, but also represent the rich cultural tapestry of the city. The aroma of spices fills the air, and vendors enthusiastically call out to passersby, inviting them to sample their payas. So, in the next paragraph, however, there is certain lacuna in the understanding of Turkish culture for those unfamiliar with it. For instance, many not realize the significance of the tea culture in Turkey. Tea culture, lacuna are the words which cannot be found, again, as we mentioned at the beginning of the slide, untranslatable words. So unlike in many Western countries where coffee reigns supreme, tea is the beverage of choice here. It is often served in small tulip-shaped glasses, and sharing tea is common social practice that symbolizes hospitality. So moreover, the concept of chai sati, this is translated this isn't mostly translated. This is given in the same way, as English people don't have this kind of habit or tradition. There is time or part of the day which is called a tea time in English world, but it is not the same as the Turkish one. That is why it is considered to be a lacuna. A chai satay is a cherished tradition where families and friends gather to enjoy tea along with various snacks. This practice reflects the importance of community and connection in Turkish society, something that might be overlooked by outsiders. In addition to food and drink, the ethnographisms present in Turkish life are evident in customs such as the henna night. Henna night is a word which is called as kina geçası. It can be given in the same way. This is an occasion, a pre-wedding celebration for brides. This event is filled with music, dance, and application of henna designs on the bride's hands and feet, symbolizing joy and fertility. It is a vivid representation of Turkish wedding tradition that encapsulates both beauty and cultural heritage. As visitors explore Istanbul, they are encouraged to embrace these elements, both the realia and ethnographisms, to gain a deeper appreciation for the vibrant culture while acknowledging the lacuna that may exist in the understanding. So it means that not only Turkish world but also each nation has got special lacuna, realia, as there is a special culture in each nation. When it comes to Uzbek world, when it comes to dishes, culinary life, or all kind of events or holidays in Uzbekistan, we can mention a lot of words which cannot be translated and which are called as realia, lacuna, and ethnographisms in translation field. For example, pilav, or sometimes it is called a plov, a special dish which cannot be encountered in Western countries. So in order to make it understandable, sometimes the translator can use the explanatory translation, but anyway, this word is called as area. Dupi, as I mentioned about, or Kelin Salon. Kelin Salon is a special word, and it is called as the ethnographism. Ethnographism, and there are thousands of words in Uzbek world too. So each nation represents and has got this kind of words. So thank you for your attention. Now I'm going to finish my video lesson.